What is up, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020, Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show for dads and fathers. It's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And in 2023, 2022, and 2021, we reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers all around the world. I'm also a featured content contributor to the Fly Nubian Queen channel that's run by Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. And that YouTube channel has 570,000 subscribers on YouTube. And also, the date has finally been announced, March 25th. Yes, March 25th, Indie Soup Media is launched, and I'm a content creator and also sit on the advisory board. And on that platform, it's run by a friend of the Dr. Vibe Show and Dr. Vibe and Morning Vibe, all those things, Dr. Tachi, and it's featuring over 35 content creators, and the total reach of the network is over 1 million people. So as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Ryan may be joining us today. I know he always likes to walk the kiddos on Friday to school, but I know next week here in the Greater Toronto area is reading week. So I don't know if there's a PTA day or not. I don't know, but let's go through some homework first. Always, please subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. Also, like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, YouTube, and I already said YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. To advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, any of the platforms I host, please feel free to email me at dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. And always join the Morning Vibe Discord group. That's where we continue the conversation and people can share things that are going on, great articles, great posts. For example, we had Lorna Kennedy Martin on earlier this week, and she's given me some content about 10 etiquette and image tips for men, and when the women are coming. And then also coming up on this Monday show, she is back, Carolyn Nicole, certified holistic nutritionist of the Energy Shack Juice Bar, will be back with us. So we got a lot of action going on today. And of course, Ryan isn't here to help me out. I'm just joking. And so we got one recurring friend and then two, I think, new friends to the Morning Vibe, but not new friends to me. But first things first, I want to say, hail up. It is Happy International Women's Day. As my friend who's going to be calling on in a minute says, it should be every day, not just today. But I want to say a big salute to all the women around the world. I wouldn't be here without you. And look who's going to be jumping in right on time. All right. So before we go any further, there's a great initiative that's coming up that I didn't know about till early this week. And, you know, I'm glad to at least know a little about it. So I'm just going to put it on the screen for everyone to take a look. So Foodpreneur Lab and Corliss, Growing Investment Readiness, is a transformative 8-part workshop series designed to empower Black women entrepreneurs in food. And it's the goal is to create compelling narratives while mastering financial acumen. Through its immersive experience, craft a robust application for the Corliss Venture Program, paving the way for your food entrepreneurship dreams to take flight.
When I met Janice, her name, the concept of a Janice was already this big. I was looking for people in our community who were doing things, who were saying that, basically their work was meeting what they were saying they did. And time again, when I met people who their business had advanced from where it was to where it needed to be, it was because of Janice. It had something to do with Janice. Janice was part of their journey. And then I had the privilege at the think tank event, where ACBN hosted that think tank event, to, you're looking for that moment when you're supposed to be networking, but you really kind of want to not network. I saw two beautiful women having a conversation, and I said, I'm going over there. And Janice was one of those women.
Okay. All right. Janice, take it from there. So how did that conversation go, and how did it lead to where we're at today with this great opportunity?
So that conversation has been ongoing, Dr. Vibe, with regards to what the current landscape looks like and how can we look at alternative solutions, because we tend to fall right into status quo most of the times. And again, that's because either we haven't had access or we're unaware of what are the alternatives, or sometimes we're even unaware that we can create alternatives. And this is where, Lorraine came in this with this discussion, and we were like, yeah. Well, I should say she came to me and she said, what if we did X, Y, and Z? Because give credit where credit is due. And I was like, yeah, I could see that. And so we started brainstorming. And as they say, 1 and 1 plus 2. We also have a third party, Juliet, who's not here today. I have to give her credit as well. And really, it was a collective of Black women seeking solutions on a broader bandwidth. Because what you see here, I have that saying, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. There are 10,000 other women behind each of us. And so it's important for us that we have that reach. And so this is how the Foodpreneur Lab Coreless Growing Investment Readiness came about.
Lorraine, tell us a little bit about your involvement in this great collaboration.
Highlighting me wouldn't make sense at this point because we really are a team of 3. And again, we're not in it for us. We're in it for the community and what this program could do for the community. What I will say, though, is that I used to really believe in being a team of 1. And as I was saying to somebody yesterday, I am so surrounded in community now, and I so understand that to do big things, it's better if we do it in community. Each one of us, myself, Juliet, Janice, we are power on our own. Together, though, and then also bringing in another partner to do the program and so on and so on. It's amazing what we can bring to our community through meaningful and strategic partnerships with like-minded people.
Janice, I know it's an obvious question, but I know you can go a little bit deeper. How challenging is it for Black women, African women, to get the funding they need to get to the next step in this industry?
It's extremely challenging, as we've already known through study after report, after research, after documentation. And I mean, on the theoretical side, yes, we know this, as we say, the struggle is real. The reality side is that it's stagnating growth. That's the part that we really have to pay attention to. Yeah, the reports are great. They just validate what we already know. And so when you can't provide funding in forms of a loan to somebody whose business is demonstrating potential growth, whether it's 2-3%, it's still growth. You can't ignore the fact, okay? And not only that, respectfully, we've now changed our attitude, and this has always been my approach. My expectation of growth doesn't necessarily have to be your expectation of growth. If you don't want to grow 10% because it might be too fast, or maybe you don't have the resources to elevate that quickly, or grow that quickly, then that's okay. And it comes back again to allowing entrepreneurs, especially women, to redefine what success means for them. Because the reality is, we are jugglers. We don't just spin one plate. I have yet to meet any woman, or any Black woman for that matter, who said, oh yeah, I'm just focused on my job. That's not happening. And so we have to remember, when we're not focusing on that growth aspect, we are distracted by something else. Whether it's not having sufficient funds, not having the resources, not knowing where to go, not having community, not being able to share the mental stressors that we go through, because that is real. And lastly, not being allowed or not able to take the time to sit still and figure out what's going on internally and externally so that we can show up better. Because we're not here to compete with each other, we're here to support.
Lorraine, so what is the process that one has to go through to apply, and if they get accepted, what is the what things that that person has to bring to the table, that candidate has to bring to the table?
The application process, Foodpreneur Lab website, has the Growing Investment Readiness tab that is related strictly to this project. The application process involves answering a number of questions on our form that really gives us a baseline for who you are, what your business is, and it ensures that when we look at the answers to those questions, we know that you're the right fit for this program and that this program will benefit you. I would say that any business should apply. Even if you think you don't meet the requirements, you should apply. If you're accepted into the program, there is a ton of learning to be had. I know that we might be at a phase when Black businesses, Black business owners, female Black business owners are just cohorted to death. This is a different program. This is about your business, learning more about it, being able to tell the story of it, and especially digging into and digesting the financial aspects of it. And then exploring possibilities. What could you do if your business was in line to get more money? If your business had availability to funding? If your business could cross markets and cross borders, what would that look like?
So for everyone who's watching this live on the replay, on most of the platforms you're watching this on, I've already put the link for those to apply. So it's already out there to everybody. And also there is the information about Foodpreneur Lab, all things going. So Janice, just to finish up the conversation, why are you, actually for both of you, I'll ask Lorraine first. Why are you excited about this opportunity? Lorraine first.
I'm excited because this opportunity makes it that Janice has to talk to me at least once a week.
Good shot. And that's a good thing.
I'm really excited to collaborate with Black women, with women in general, to tell you the truth. And the more I'm engaged in the community, the more I'm just loving this thing we call life. This journey, when you meet a stranger, and after 3 or 4 conversations about business, you realize you're not a stranger, you're family. We experience the same thing. And then taking off the blinders and removing some of the barriers and being able to assist a room full of women to go from thinking I can't to I can. I'm really looking forward to working with everybody that we're working with, to see the fruition of this Growing Investment Readiness program. And I really just can't wait to do more and more programs like this with Janice and others.
I would have to say I'm excited on the fact that this is really about Black women, female empowerment. I think it really gives an amazing opportunity to have these very focused, strong-willed, determined Black women map out their strategy plan where somebody's actually with them along the way, making them aware of the dips and the climb, the high altitude areas, which is great because that's what's lacking. Most entrepreneurs that you speak with, the common response is, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that existed. I didn't know you could do that. So having everybody in the room with a team of experts, especially, given Lorraine's expertise in finance, and Juliet as well, I think it's an amazing approach, not only from a programming sense, but also from that emotional piece where I like to speak about as well, because in order for us to push forward, we really have to heal the trauma, whether it's the money trauma or whatever trauma is going on behind that, in order to get to that successful path. And so that's what we're here to do, really focus on building and encouraging our women and pretty much saying to them, hey, listen, sky's the limit. We are here to support you. Look at what we're doing. And to Lorraine's point, we're really seeking other ways as well to expand our partnerships and create some amazing opportunities for Black female entrepreneurs.
Well, interesting question. How are the Black Chamber and the BBPA helping your cause? Or are they?
Lorraine, I'll let you respond.
This is what I'll say. There'll be a time for everybody. And I personally plan to knock on both those agencies' doors and see how we can partner with them for future endeavors. We are working with another party in this, and that other party and other spaces, there are many other spaces that we're going to ask for a seat at that table too, because at the end of the day, I think it's very important that we understand that business knows no color.
There's a contact information there for, and also it's all on everything. And in a few moments, I'll share all the contact information for Foodpreneur Lab. As always, to both of you ladies and loved ones, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourselves grace. Take care.
You know, and that's what I feel like. You feel like you're the Harriet Tubman of the mind.
I am.
I feel like I'm I'm one of the Harriet Tubmans of intelligent Black people. Like, I want to liberate y'all from like being left behind and ignored and oblivion. No, really, the rappers get all the attention. You know, seriously, does anybody else feel this way? Like ignorant Black people, they'll be all up, you know, getting all the headlines on the Shade Room.
Overly sexualized Black folks.
Over, like the twerkers and the, you know, just people that, you know, don't always represent the best of us, you know, the diversity, you know, like people like Dr. Vibe. Like, everybody should know about people like Dr. Vibe. Dr.
Really
Vibe he's trying to do good work for Black people. Dr. Vibe from Toronto. Good to see you, my brother. Dr. Vibe. Everybody follow Dr. Vibe. He has a great show. He's very good at what he does, and I have a lot of respect for him. The men who are also doing the same thing. I see Dr. Vibe in here. He's a great brother. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. He's a smart brother in Canada, and we need to follow smart people. So follow Dr. Vibe. If you see him in the chat, and Dr. Vibe, say your name in the chat so people can see you. I want you to click on his name, and I want you to go follow him, please, because I want these men and women that are doing the right things to get the support they deserve. Hey, Dr. Vibe, how you doing, brother? Again, like I always do, I got to say everybody should go follow Dr. Vibe. He's got a great show. Dr. Vibe, I know Dr. Vibe's got a kingdom because I see your channel. I see you pouring into that every day. Everybody should follow Dr. Vibe, by the way. Look him up, Dr. Vibe, V-I-B-E. He's a great friend of me and my wife, and I love this guy. Okay, so let me hop into this. What's up, Dr. Vibe? How you doing? Everybody, if you see Dr. Vibe in the chat, everybody go follow the Dr. Vibe show. Dr. Vibe is a real smart brother and a good human being. I like the guy a lot, and he's very intelligent. And I think everyone should pay attention to what he's got going on. We got to shine the spotlight on the intelligent Black people out here that are really doing the good work. Don't just pay attention to the rappers and the celebrities. You know, a lot of these people are losers. Your true winners are your people in your community that are really having your back. You know, helping us to have stronger families and a stronger community. So Dr. Vibe is in that category. So you might see the Dr. Vibe show in this chat. If you see him, please go follow him. Okay. All right. So anyway,
what was the reason for having this event, Black Marriage Day? How did it originate?
Well, Black Marriage Day, it's actually an official celebration or a day of recognition of sorts. It was established in America in 2002 or 2003, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 2002. It was established by a woman named Nisa Muhammad. She started an organization called the Wedded Bliss Foundation in Washington, D.C., and her vision of Black Marriage Day was a day to celebrate and foster healthier relationships between not just married couples, but children, teens, community, single people, everybody, to really show the way that marriages within our community can help elevate and support who we are as stronger communities. So this was going on long before I had ever heard of it. But when we first heard about it here in Toronto, or at least when I first heard about it here in Toronto, it was brought to us by another really great, I guess, Black power couple, you know, Ron and Desiree. And they had a Black Marriage Day event. So Paul and I went, and my biggest takeaway from that day was just the way that they elevated us. And you know, you sometimes you're coming out of, as younger people who were married at the time, you know, a lot of your friends are single, a lot of your friends are still out there, they're having fun, you know, and living lives. And we were kind of like, wow, look at us all locked down and middle-aged and driving a minivan, and it just didn't seem like very exciting times. It was so great to go to an event where the issues that we were facing were seen, and we were celebrated for doing something that for every place else I looked seemed like it was a really boring, matter-of-fact thing. But here on Black Marriage Day, we realized that it was an amazing thing.
Interestingly enough, again, we always support, you know, couples and Black community when it comes to events. So when we heard about this event from Desian Fanfare, we were like, wow, something celebrating Black couples and in particular Black marriage. You know, because we often don't see that being celebrated in our community enough, right? So, you know, arriving to the event, it was just so good to see, other folks that were sharing that reality. Sometimes there's challenges, sometimes there's success, but people sharing that reality and sharing their stories around, marriage and whatnot. And surprisingly, at that time, I think we won an award for the longest married couple. Maybe it was by a day or 7 days, but
I
even
think
that
we
was,
beat the other couple by about 6 weeks.
there you
Um,
go.
yeah, and we got a lovely prize for being the longest married couple there. We'd been married for just 13 years, almost 14 years at that time. But yeah, Black Marriage Day has been a thing for us ever since then. We're like, what? They give prizes for this? Wow.
Are we celebrating Black love enough? Obviously, you're having this event, but I want to get from your lens the importance of celebrating Black love.
My personal opinion, and I cannot speak for the mister, but my personal opinion is that Black Marriage Day is not a celebration of love and it's not a celebration of romance, because I find that when you're in the trenches of the day-to-day grind of the partnership, it is some of the the least romantic thing. It is the least romantic thing that you could ever do. Marriage is not about a celebration of romance. It's not lights and candles and flower petals thrown down, because I can't tell you, if I threw flower petals in my bed, there'd be like two kids jumping on it at any given time, right? Like, marriage is not that romantic, but it is a celebration of work. It's a celebration of commitment. And I feel that if we really focus on what it takes, the sacrifice that you have to make, and the constant renegotiation of things, the division of labor and all of those things that can seem quite boring, but in the end, they can come together to create something so beautiful. That's what I think. That's what I think Black Marriage Day is all about. Because sometimes if we focus on romance, when the romance fades, we think the marriage is over. But that is not how it's supposed to be. The marriage is the work that we bring to it. So that's what we're celebrating on Black Marriage Day, is the work,
Yeah.
the commitment, the sacrifice, the everything that we have to do to build together.
Yeah, and I think I would add that I agree, but I would add that we are celebrating love, right? Because it depends how love looks. Like work is love, discipline is love, commitment is love. All of those things, are attributes of love itself, right? I agree. It's not just romantic. So yeah, we do get romantic. That is part of it. But I always say to people, there's a difference between having a wedding and having a marriage, right?
Absolutely.
A wedding is great. The day we eat your cake, we celebrate. But then marriage
Mhm.
itself is living, working. How are we negotiating with each other? How are we charting that path, together? What are the sacrifices we're making? What are the challenges? And part of, a marriage is really building a community, right? Nicole and I often talk about sometimes the challenges in marriages is if you're not connected to community and family to support you, especially in the challenging times, then it'll be hard to maintain a marriage.
What do you feel, Nicole, is the state of Black marriage from your lens at this time?
Well, I mean, when I say the state of Black marriage, of course, I can't speak universally about it, because we are all Black with different places, spaces, and culture. But I can speak to what I'm seeing, perhaps of my communities here in Toronto, perhaps further flung Caribbean communities, and kind of this generation of marriage. And I find that marriage is being impacted by a lot of different elements that were not previously a part of our culture. One example is the wedding. The wedding, I feel like the wedding is killing Black marriage. I'm just going to say it right now, right? The wedding is killing Black marriage because there is so much focus on the cost and the expense and the spectacle of this day that I find even couples that want to get married won't get married because they're like, I can't afford this particular day. I can't tell you how many years I have not been to a decent middle of the road wedding because there are couples that are like, I'm just going to go to the courthouse and do it now. And then when I can afford it, I will involve all of you later. My children are ranging in age from 15 to 22, and I could say that for the most part, they have not been to any weddings because weddings are so expensive. You can't invite children, you can't involve family in the way that you really would like to. And I know for myself, the most important part of getting married was my family being involved, my family being a witness to this relationship. Um, when Paul and I were negotiating if or when we would get married, one of the things I said was that a wedding for me is just a place where everybody in my family can meet you at the same time. I mean, yes, the key players already knew him, but for the far-flung relatives, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life going, this is Paul, this is Paul, this is Paul, this is Paul, this is Paul. I said, let's just get them together in one place. We'll stand up in front of them and we'll just say, hey, this is Paul, this is Nicole. We plan on spending the rest of our lives together and we'll probably have some kids. Good. Hit the buffet, get the DJ going. That's a wedding. So I think the state of Black marriage is that even before we can get into the marriage, we've got to focus on what are our values around what does marriage really mean to us. And I know that for its success, it should not mean the most expensive day that you're going to be paying on for the rest of your lives after.
Paul, you have continuous conversations with African men. Can you give us a lens from where you feel what they're saying or talking about when it comes to marriage?
Yeah. So I think that this is a very interesting topic, right? Because often, coming back to what Nicole said, in terms of values and what's really sold in terms of a value about marriage is usually directed towards women, right? So from their yay high, it's all about that wedding day, that prince, that someone to come and take you away. So there's a value of marriage. On the other side of that, in particular, for ourselves, we don't have that value, right? It's not pushed to us. It's not advertised, or if it's wedding magazines or marriage magazines or relationship books or whatnot, it's not usually pushed to us. So I find that a lot of Black men that I know don't have a value for marriage, right? And then the other part of it is that a lot of times we're not prepared for marriage, and prepared in the way of, how do we live with someone? How do we sacrifice? What does it mean to have that level of commitment to one person, right? However, I think that what is positive is that there's so many, and this, Dr. Vibe, so many circles out there now of Black men, Black fathers, Black brothers, and these conversations are beginning to come up, right? A lot of these conversations around, partnering, the challenge of relationships, the challenges of defining what a man is, and us wrestling with that, especially most of our definitions of manhood are from a Eurocentric perspective of what it means to be a man, right? Even something as simple, coming from the Caribbean, I'll say with my own father, like the stereotypes would have been, men, don't cook, men don't sew, and so on and so. And I grew up, my dad,
My dad sewed. My grandfather on my dad's side was a tailor in Montego Bay, Jamaica.
And this I'm saying, my dad, the same thing. He's a great, so these things, so as you step into your manhood, it becomes challenging. I've sat in circles with brothers that have had tears around trying to fight against these things. And then the impact on their own relationships, because they expect to be this type of man, and therefore, but it didn't really fit the model in the relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm supposed to be that tough guy. I'm not supposed to do this and that. So I think that the state of marriage for Black men, we're very much in the state of redefining, first of all, who we are as Black men or as men, and then coming to that point where are we moving? What do we think about being married? Is that something that we value? Is that something that we strive for? A lot of our young men have not come from a two-parent home. The functioning of the relationship and how it looks like on a day-to-day, most of us are just trying to fly by the seat of our pants. We really don't know what that looks like.
Great insight from both of you. And that's another fact that Dr. George Fraser shared with me, that in America, it's about 70% of the Black children grew up in a one-parent home. That is a huge, huge impact. When you got married, there wasn't this thing as big as it is now called social media. And unfortunately, I had to go there.
Yeah.
A lot of the noise on social media is very anti-relationship, anti-Black relationship. What are your thoughts on that?
And I laughed when you said that because, I always joke that, I mean, when we first started dating, forget about social media, like we barely had voicemail. Like there was,
drop that.
yeah,
Drop
we had
that.
like voicemail. What was that? Like one of my biggest issues when we were dating is that Paul never called when he said he was going to call, right? Like he would say, "Oh, I'll call you later," and then I wouldn't hear from him for 3 days. And then I'd say, "Hey, you said you were going to call me." And he's like, "I did call you, but I would never knew if he called me or not because the phone was just the phone, right?" But there was different noise back then, and certainly not to the extent that it is now, where you're getting noise and input from people all across the universe. The first Valentine's Day that Paul and I had when we were dating, Paul didn't celebrate Valentine's Day. And like the big booming wedding business, we were told that, if a guy truly valued you, he was going to have some chocolates and roses and candy and all of this stuff for Valentine's Day. Paul was like, "Yeah, I'm not into the commercialism. I don't do Valentine's Day." So this is when the noise began. I had to go to my girlfriends and be like, "We'd been dating for a month at this point. This guy says he doesn't celebrate Valentine's Day. What do you think?" Man, 75 to 80% of my friends was like, "Dump him, girl, dump him. He just showing you who he is right now. He's cheap. He doesn't care about you. He couldn't even do that. Just go to the store and get you some flowers, But like any noise, I had to sit down and think on that. I was like, do I want flowers? Do I even eat chocolate? Are these things that I really want, or are they just a symbol that somebody has taught me that I should want? What do I want?
Yeah.
And what I wanted was to go to the Valentine's Day dance. That's what I wanted. So we had to negotiate. It was our first major negotiation. Like, okay, we're not going to do this, but instead we're going to do that. And we did what worked for us, and that worked for us. So I think with social media now, there's a lot of people saying Black relationships are this and they're not this and they are that. But it's not about that. For me, we have to make sure that we talk to young people today about whatever you see, whatever you hear, when anybody tells you, what works for you.
Yeah, and I would say with the social media piece, it's just a reflection of the disconnection that we have with ourselves and our community, right? If somebody's opinion that you don't know is valued more than somebody who is your brother, your sister, or in your community, someone who knows you. Like me and Dr. Vibe, we're brethren. And I'm like, "Yo, Dr. Vibe, here's my opinion on something." Or he can give me his opinion on something. If someone's opinion outside of that really is not invested in your relationship, whether that be the success or, it moving forward, has more influence than, than the person that you actually, love, care, and, then there's a challenge to that, right? But that's also a reflection of the isolation that we have, trying to negotiate these life situations. I think, it's almost like we need to kind of go back to those times where we can really say, who are the people in our corners that we're going to be listening to, or hearing and valuing their opinion. You don't always have to do what they say, but we really know at the end of the day, if it's about, someone who has that connection and that love for you, then, you can kind of weigh that. So I think that's where we are. Social media has definitely created that level of isolation and disconnect, in particular for this new generation. All right. So it's going to be a great event. Like I mentioned, it's going to be at La's Authentic Cuisine, 48 Main Street North in Markham. I will say this. I'm just going to kind of let people know a little bit. It's going to be a 3-course meal, right? So you're going to have your appetizer, your main, and your dessert. For the folks who are fish lovers like me, I'm just going to give you a little sense of it. sorrel glazed salmon will
Poof.
be on the menu. Again, sorrel glazed salmon, and Gaika from Laz, she does it up. So I'm gonna give that little tints. There will be other meals, but we'll have meals also for vegetarians. There'll be uh, entertainment like poetry, music, a DJ. We'll be having conversations similar to this, and connection. We'll have people who will have gift bags, and prizes for folks to come through. We'll have pieces around business sharing. So we'll have people who have products, services, businesses that will be able to talk about that. If people are interested in either coming to the event or supporting the event, we have a sponsorship package that you can get back to us, and we can let you know about sponsoring the events and highlighting it at the events.
Mhm.
But really, it's about connection, sharing with other couples. Because again, talking about the isolation, we often think that this is just us, operating in our relationship or our marriage. But sharing that knowledge with other folks and that experience goes a long way. And then, of course, celebrating ourselves.
Can those who are dating show up at this? Can those who are single, can they show up at this also?
If you're dating, I'm not expecting you to bring somebody who you've been with for the last 2.5 weeks, right? That's dating. And
Yeah.
dating is great. It's a great start. But I think if there are people who do not consider themselves married, but they know that their intention is on a marriage level, like we both agree that we are getting married and we want to come and learn and talk and prepare ourselves for marriage, then we would be open to that too. It's a celebration of things marriage. So I think if you're single, probably not so much. I've had a few people ask me, like, can I find somebody there to get married to?
Yeah, because hopefully not.
No, I don't.
That'll be a whole different event.
Yes.
It's a different event.
Wayne Harris. Marriage comes in many non-traditional forms today. Will this be addressed at the event? Also, what are the defined roles for men and women today within the context of the Black family? What a like two questions.
Oh, I know, right? I find the thing of non-traditional forms is interesting, because I think as Black people who are married, we were not even given access to many of what would have been considered the traditional forms. That's why when we talk about do you or do you not have a marriage license, how do you talk about that with people who historically were not even allowed to get married? African Americans said they jumped over broomsticks. In the Caribbean, we probably did something else, but traditional or non-traditional, that's not really our thing. I know there are same-sex couples. If you're comfortable and you feel and you're married or your marriage relationship is on that level, just come through.
And in regards to that part, I think it was about roles of Black women and men. I think, again, we're living in the era where things are fluid, right? And sometimes it takes what's needed in order to get what's done for the benefit of the family and the community, right? So, I mean, if it makes sense that Nicole is the person that sews the clothes in the relationship, let it be. If it makes sense that, I have to be the breadwinner, let it be. If it makes sense that, we're building business together and we're both working outside the home, let it be. I think the rules have to be fluid and they have to be in line with, what the goals of the family are.
Wayne, again, there is a lot of noise about Black women and men and the relationship between the two, mostly from an American perspective. Are these issues up here as well? I think you may have covered that, but you can go a little bit deeper if you want.
Yeah, I think these issues are Pan-African, the universal between Black men and Black women, right? Because whether you're looking at the historical context, I tell people, if we look at that period of the transatlantic slave trade and the challenges around, we didn't get a chance to choose who we want to be with, right? We were separated. If I wanted to marry Nicole, I didn't have that choice. They may marry me off to somebody else, right? And then how does that play out in today's role? So we're not used to being in a relationship and choosing and commitments and all those kind of things. So yes, the issues are actually very universal. You can go to the Caribbean, you can go to Africa, you can go, South America, Canada. Yeah, the issues between Black men and Black women. There's a lot of repair. There's a lot of hurt that we need to deal with, a lot of healing that we need to deal with. And I think that we're in a place now where we're beginning to have some conversations. We still have the challenges, but I think that we really are just at the point right now where we're talking about the hurt. We're talking about the trauma that's being visited in our relationships, right? So we're at that place. But yeah, we have the same issues up here.
Ray from the Macmillan Group says, how did you manage parenting 4 kids while keeping invested in each other?
Good question. Good question. Well, personally, I'm from a big family. So there are 8 children in my,
Wow.
I have 7 siblings. So the concept of having, many children and parents kind of balancing, the relationship piece. I saw it in front of me. I saw the challenges as well. To be honest, my parents were from that generation where, you would just work, work, work. And I guess your love language is, making sure that things are paid for. Children are kind of, not well set, but they're okay when it comes to that piece. I think with Nicole and I, the benefit is that before we got together, we were working together. So we met in university, and we met at the Caribbean Club. And so we've been working together, from, I don't know, 1995.
Yeah, I guess that's
or
what they call the Black Students Association or
Association.
something now. So yeah, if you
Yes.
guys want to know where to hook a great guy, if you're in college now and you're not going to your BSA meetings, or in high school you're not going to BSA meetings, join the BSA.
When we had children, in terms of Toronto, a lot of the work that we did, for example, Nicole published a magazine, Black Woman and Child. A lot of the events we did in Toronto and community were community events. Well, it could be a Kwanzaa, and Dr. Vibe, I've done work with Black men and helping to start, Black Father Center. So a lot of the work that we've done has been centered around the family and involving the family, right? So that balance, like my children grew up in community.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right. And they're known in community, and they're, a couple of them are adults now, and they're still doing work in community. So I think that part of it is to integrate your children into what you're doing. And it kind of helps, right? In terms of balancing that. Now, having enough time for a personal relationship and whatnot, we've definitely been intentional around making sure we take time out ourselves. So, dating, you're dating your wife, dating your husband intentionally. You got to plan these things. And I'll always tell people, and Nicole will agree, the key to our marriage is that we argue every day. Right? And I say that because a lot of times the challenges in marriage that people hold things. Even in a regular relationship, you hold things, you never say these things, right? And then when they come out in a very, bad way because you've been holding this for years. It's best to discuss things, challenges every day, argue every day. I maybe we already argue, not intentionally, but it just happens that we argue a lot, but then we also love a lot. We also work a lot. We also heal a lot. We deal with things over and over. So that's my advice is that, yeah.
I think to clarify too, that when he says we argue every day, it's kind of like I think how people physically play fight. I find that because of the nature of the culture we're in, boys are much better at this thing than girls, because I grew up without boys. I did not realize how much time they spend wrestling and fighting and pretend punching each other. And because they're pretend punching, they always know when to stop. Like they go here, they stop just short of your face. They're putting each other in a headlock all the time. But then they know the difference between play fighting and real fighting. Whereas,
True.
if I try to fight somebody, if I put my fist out, I'm just going to go right through your head because I don't don't make a habit of doing this. I don't know my own strength.
Right.
So when we're arguing every day, I mean, we're arguing about the news, we're arguing about something that I read and an issue that was raised, and we're constantly arguing the finer points. We argue, about who should be included as the original members of the Wu-Tang Clan. Like it's constant noise and arguing all the time.
And it's true, family. I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
Constantly, like we will argue, but because we do it so much, I think we become very good at it. Each of us knows exactly how hard to hit and where not to hit and what not to say. So then when real arguments happen, when there are things that we really need to settle, we already have a kind of foundation for dealing with them.
Look at this. Hayden goes, any tips on how to argue without feelings being hurt? Ooh.
Oh, I got that one. Well, I think that the most important part of arguing without feelings being hurt is that you first have to know when feelings are hurt, and that requires transparency. It took me a long time to get there myself personally, because I would feel like I don't want to give him the power of showing him that he hurt my feelings. I'm gonna walk away and talk to my girlfriends about it, be like, he's such a, but I never actually said anything to him. Like, I'm the kind of person, when my feelings are hurt, I get silent and then I shut down, and then it's don't touch me, don't talk to me. I don't even want to be in the same room with you. But in the moment, it would have been more effective to say, you know what, that really hurt. What you just said, that hurt. And I don't feel that it was necessary. I don't feel that that was a part of the conversation that we needed to be having.
Yeah. And I think, people look at, feeling hurt or sad is always a negative emotion. But I tell people it's better than being indifferent, because if I'm indifferent to you, if I don't feel a way about anything you say to me, then we really are not connecting in that way. But as Nicole says, if I'm feeling a way, like I can say I feel a way, then at least we're sharing that aspect of that's the impact. But if I feel like, yo, you said something to me, or I don't care about it, that's even worse, right? But yeah, feelings are gonna get hurt. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
Any type of relationship, feeling, mother, daughter, son, whatever,
Yeah, it's gonna
friend
happen.
to friend, you're gonna get hurt. So to avoid that altogether is not realistic. But again, you want to be as gentle and recognizing that people have different histories, right? When I kind of rewinding a point we were talking about is I grew up with two parents. Nicole grew up just with her mother, and that itself, right, became a challenge because as Nicole would say, like, she grew up in what we just say, the just FM girl mentality, meaning that when things are tight in a relationship, how do you have that conversation versus some of our folks grew up where you don't negotiate because you never had to.
And it's not to speak ill of growing up with one parent, because they often say that one healthy parent is better than two unhealthy parents together, right? But if there's one thing I did not learn in my house, it was how to argue, because you don't argue with your mother. And I never saw my mother arguing with anybody else. My mom would give a tirade, and me and my sister, we would just be quiet and listen and wait for it to blow past us. There was no advocating for yourself. There was no saying that you hurt my feelings. You try to tell a Caribbean mother that she hurt your feelings?
What feelings?
What feelings? If you had feelings, you were lucky she even gave you feelings, right? Like, that's not something that you learned how to do.
What do you want to achieve with the Black Marriage Day event?
Definitely, we want to achieve, for Black couples not Black couples, but for community as a whole, Black community, to see marriage as a valued piece, to see it as something that we should celebrate in our community. And for those who are attending, we definitely want folks to feel honored, connected, and to recognize that we're not alone, or you're not alone in this thing that we call marriage, and how important it is to connect with others, to help sustain, right? The marriage that you have. It's just so important that, we're not trying to, live in isolation and recognize that, yeah, we are all in this together and we all are going to come away with a better understanding of how we can um, improve our relationships, having some insights and some connection. And last but not least, great food. I can't, I go back to that sorrel glazed salmon. Like, you will be fed well.
Yeah, and I want to build on that too by saying that, what I want to get out of this event is extending our understanding of marriage. Like, we don't come to be like, marriage is this and marriage is that, and you need to do this and that. This is not like a self-help workshop. This is an event where we're all going to contribute to raising our awareness. The thing I really want to impress upon people listening is that for us, marriage is not just it's not a wedding thing, it's not a romance thing per se, and it's not just a morality thing, because we didn't touch on that, where people think that marriage is something that you need to do so that you can be blessed and highly favored. It's not just about morality. There are real tangible benefits to
Absolutely.
us and family and community that we get.
Absolutely.
When we have married people within our communities, you have more people that can support you, whether you're married or single. My children help to support elders in the community. My children have relationships with people who are single. When you're married, whether you have children or not, when you're married, you have a partner. Your blood pressure can go down if you got the right partner. You've got a business to run, you need a partner. You got a household to run, you need a partner, right? So we really want to encourage us broadening our understanding of marriage, and we hope that that's what the people who come to the event will bring. We talked about the soul glazed salmon, but I want to say too, for vegetarians, I know sometimes vegetarians are like, oh, what am I going to come there and just get some rice and peas? No, you're not, because we have a wonderful grilled cauliflower steak with herb butter.
I know you're thinking about the upcoming event, the 24th of this month. Any thoughts of taking this further? Because I have some thoughts in my head. I'm not going to give them all here, but I have some any thoughts beyond the 24th of this month about continuing this journey with our people?
Yeah. I think we need to build on these conversations. And to be honest, I think that, in part of my vision is being able to have a support network of folks that you can call on and connect with. Other things, like I said, we find a lot of folks are doing business together, so doing some conferences or conversations around that. And I think, at some point it would be great to have a depository of information or access to that if younger people, or it doesn't matter, younger people who have not been married, want to have advice, or they want to hear from voices of people, this is something that they can access, right? So finding some way where that information could be openly accessed to folks would also be great to have. And then maybe an elder circle that's just about supporting Black marriage, right? So specific role and function that could happen. So a lot of things could come out of it, right?
Yeah, I think in future, I'm definitely looking forward to coordinating more community-based events. I know one of the issues that we always have is, where do we meet people? Where do we connect with people? How do we build, And I know there's a lot of people working hard to make singles events, but I did not meet my husband at a singles event. And many of us who met each other did not meet at events that were structured for that purpose. There's a lot of pressure, and a lot of people don't want to come to those types of events because they just think, oh my gosh, I don't want to be like a fish in a fishbowl, or, sharks are circling and things like that. I really want to see more events where we can just be together as community. And if you happen to meet somebody there, that would be great too.
All right. Well, as we start to wind it down, there's a flyer there is the link where you can find out more. I've shared it on all platforms in the comment section. If you want to email and find out more, that the email address is there. That I've also shared on the comment section on all the platforms. To both of you, I want to bless you both, because we've known each other for a minute, and we're still here.
Yeah,
We're still going strong, and I don't know too many other people that I know who could celebrate, amplify, and take Black marriage to the next level in the lens, I think, than you two. So I really want to say thank you. Like, people are still on here, but they got a life, they got 4 kids, plus they got their own life. But definitely when we finish this, I have some thoughts to help amplify what they're doing, because they do it for more than themselves, family. They've always, from the first time I met both of them, it's bigger than them. So to both of you and your family, and not only your immediate family, but your extended family, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and always remember to give yourselves grace. And thank you for making this an amazing conversation. We appreciate and bless you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right, family. Woo! I always say that I'm the home of epic conversations, and I host epic conversations. Well, if you didn't think that was an epic conversation, I don't know. I have no idea what you're thinking. So thank you, everyone who watching this live on the replay. Much thanks. So a few closing things. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube. Hit the notification button. Also follow the Dr. Vibe Show on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. To advertise your business, product, or service on the platform, please feel free to email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Join the Discord group. We continue the conversation. Email me, dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Coming up on this Monday show, Carolyn Nicole, certified holistic nutritionist, will be back talking about health stuff. And not forgetting, Happy International Women's Day, not only today, but every day. And you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show, Facebook and YouTube. Afro-Caribbean Business Network, Facebook and YouTube, and Ryan O'Neill Knight, YouTube and LinkedIn. If you want to get in touch with Ryan, his website, RyanO'NeillKnight.com, LinkedIn, Ryan O'Neill Knight, and then Instagram, Ryan.Knight99, and also email workwithme at RyanO'NeillKnight.com. And then for me, if you want to get in touch with me, website, the drvibeshow.com, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show. And then Instagram at the Dr. Vibe Show. That's the drvibeshow.com. X Dr. Vibe Show, drvibeshow. And then email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. All right, we are done. This was epic. I feel like I need a nap. All right, so let's do this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace, and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.